Hello, everyone. So, usually we talk about food in our series. Today, we're taking a break and we're speaking with Dorman who has many stories to tell, and his is an amazing one. He is one of the most caring, the nicest guy I could possibly imagine. Everyone that meets him absolutely loves him, and he happens to be my father in law. So, he has lived through over 9 decades. Imagine the going through the Depression. Imagine World War I and going to Korea, which, by the way, he is a Korean veteran. Then you have Vietnam. Then you have the missile crisis. And then you have the Jimmy Carter presidency and what's going on today in the world. So a lot of scary stuff, and he's lived through it. He's got great stories to tell.
Hello everyone, this is Chef JoeMac. Today we continue our series and I'm interviewing and talking to Dorman, who just happens to be my father-in-law. He's gone through 9 decades now.
Yeah, I'm past 9.
Past 9 now. So, but I guess part of the story is, how, when growing up in the 30s, what kind of food did you like? What was it like to grow up in Arkansas and the food in the 30s?
Oh, basically in the 30s, I was born 29, so by the 30s, I was still, in my early 3, 4, 5 years old, whatever. The food that I remember about the only thing I liked really well was those red Irish potatoes. Now, I loved those all my life and still do. But as far as the garden went, I didn't, tomatoes, all that stuff, lettuce, I didn't like it until probably my teens. I began to learn to eat more out of the garden. We always had a garden when I was a child.
So in the 30s, and we go into the 40s, and I know that you went to California, Southern California specifically, with your family. How was it living down there in the 40s, maybe 50s?
Yeah, the 40s. The 40s there, we wound up on a ranch home for the workers. They had houses. And I picked lemons and oranges and stuff like that when I was in my teens. And that was fun. Those lemons, you had to have gloves on, and they had stickers on them.
I'm sure. So then I believe you decided to stay in California as your family, then moved back to Arkansas?
Well, they left. We were there, and I actually came to California and went to California with my uncle because my cousin wanted me to stay with him. So at about 15 years old, I was with them up in Tulare County, and I was there. My dad was down in Riverside County at a place called Corona, the Circle City, and my stepmother, my mother passed away when I was 12 years old. So my stepmother wrote me a letter and said, your dad would like for you to come home. And I hadn't been home in about 3 or 4 years.
This is Arkansas?
Yeah, no, he lived at Corona,
in Corona,
in Riverside County in Southern California. And I was up in Tulare County with my uncle. So I just said, well, we just up and we went down. I didn't think, and of course, it wasn't near as good as what I had up there with my uncle. I had all the freedom, and everything.
I'm sure.
And I got down there with my dad. My dad had married again and started another family. And but I stayed with it. I stayed with him there. And that was in 46. In 47, we worked, got it, finally moved out. He found a house and moved out because he got off the farm there. So we could work where we wanted to work. And we worked over in Anaheim and a fruit place there all year long. And we bought this 36 Ford car because back in that day, they quit making cars for a while during the Army. and the 36 was kind of worn, and we went through it from one end to the other. New motor, new everything, new headlights, brakes, the works. And then he decided he had some money. He thought he was a farmer. He wanted to be a farmer always, so he went back. And I stayed there myself. I was about 17. I got me a room and paid, and I worked. I could work around anywhere. They knew me and called me.
What an amazing experience. So 17, then when were you drafted to
I was
Korea?
drafted into the Army in the first January of 51.
So how old were you when you went to Korea?
Let's see, it was 51. I was still 21.
Okay.
21.
So you were in Korea for how long? 2 years?
A couple of years.
Couple
They
of years.
drafted you. When they drafted you, you were in for 2 years. And we went through Japan and on to Korea.
Now in Korea, obviously serving our country, and most people at this point probably saying thanks for serving, because it takes a unique individual to serve and go out there and protect our country. So with that being said, in Korea, what kind of food were you able to get there? Was it all supplied through the Army, or did you have?
While I was in the Army service,
Yeah.
when we went into training, and also there, they had, the basic foods, eggs and what have you. But they had one thing we learned quickly was these powdered eggs. They had water in them in a big can, and they were scrambled and had water, and they weren't. A lot of the guys didn't like them too well.
Well, I can imagine powdered eggs. So, did you ever get any chance to go out and explore and try new foods? Any Korean food?
I didn't. The Korean, that was during the war. Everything was torn upside down, just about it, and I didn't really try much Korean food. I stayed pretty well with the base. In Japan we did. Now we came back. We stayed only in Korea at first, a short time. They moved the division back to Hokkaido, Japan. And there I did order one of their hamburgers one time.
A Japanese hamburger?
Japanese hamburger. And it was a big piece of hamburger meat between 2 slices of bread. And it had something like, horseradish on it, which was bitter. I didn't like at all. But
Nothing like the
it was
American hamburger.
It was almost like 2 hamburgers for one.
Yeah.
It was different.
So Korea for a couple of years, and you came back to California?
Yeah, came back in 53, March of 53.
Okay. All right, and at that point, you met your lovely wife, and you got married.
Yeah, after that, I came up from Southern California. I came up to, I wanted to come to Sacramento, the capital, and see how things, I had some folks and friends at Sacramento, so I came up here and got a job at Sacramento. And after I was there for a couple of years or so, in 1955, actually in 1953, I met my wife, but we didn't get married until 55. So we stayed there until 2016.
2016. And
Now that's when we moved down to Manteca.
And of course, we brought, kind of forced you to Manteca, I guess you'd say.
Yeah.
That was, I'm sure, an experience. And here we are in North Carolina. So, how do you feel about North Carolina? That's different than California, that's for sure.
It's different. It's a different. I kind of like the terrain, the trees, and the little hills and stuff like that. It's not just flat. California, I lived in the desert valley all the time there, where it's flat. But here, the weather's different, but not too bad so far. So far, I like it pretty well.
Yeah, well, again, very different from California. That's for sure. All right, so 93 right now.
Me,
Yeah,
92.
92
But I'll be 93 in November.
in November. So I got to mix up a little bit, but don't look a year over, 49.
Thank you.
All right, I guess I have to finish with who's your favorite chef?
Oh, well, your name is up here. You can see it.
All right, well, thank you. We appreciate your insights and going through some of your life experiences.
Yeah. Thank you.